Why, hello. In this video, we're going to show you how to make dramatic black and white photographs using Capture One and doing them quickly. We're only going to use the Levels tool and maybe Structure and maybe Clarity. Okay, the first thing is if your Capture One looks different, it's because it's not Lightroom. Capture One actually lets you customize your tools, so you can put whatever tools you want on the side. So if yours looks a little different, you're just going to have to right-click. By the way, this is not the free Capture One. This is the paid version. So you just right-click anywhere, and you can add a tool, and that will customize your side. So this is what I usually use. So I always have base characteristics open. And here you can choose what film simulation you want. So the first thing is I choose my Acros film simulations. And the reason I started with this photograph was to show you how a different filter on an Acros film simulation can give you different results. So that cube back there is red. And so if I use regular Acros, this is what it looks like. But if I use a red filter, it makes anything red stand out a little bit more, a little bit brighter. If I use a green filter, the green filter will make anything red darker, okay? So for this one, I'm going to make to make her skin stand out more, I'm going to use a green filter on this. And then again, going down to the levels, I'm going to pull from the left for my shadows, and I'm going to pull on the right for the highlights. And there you go. That's it. And now you can tweak a couple of other things. The next thing to tweak is your midtones. Your midtones left and right will give you either a more dramatic or moodier, darker midtone look, or you can raise those midtones to kind of bring some more detail out. That's one way you could tweak. The other way you can tweak is if you have your high dynamic range open here. What you can do with that is you can actually bring the shadows up, but that combats a little bit of what you just did with your levels. So sometimes that one you might just want a little bit of subtle, bring the shadows back. You could also raise your clarity here. Your clarity also gives you a little bit of crunch in the midtones, and you end up with nice highlights, good shadows, and a dramatic looking image. All right, cool. Let's do another one real quick. This is also a raw file, so I'm going to go to my Acros green versus red. I'm going to go with the red filter on that one. Slide to the left, slide from the right, and we get some nice bright highlights back there. And let me check if I want to do anything with the midtones. Not too much. So I kind of want this to be a little dramatic. And clarity, this clarity, bump it up a bit. Yeah, clarity does a nice job. I don't want to go too nuts there. And then if the highlights are too blown out, you see the top over there, you can just use the highlight slider to bring those highlights back, and done. Okay, an image from New Orleans. Oh man, it's sacrilegious to black and white this, but actually let's try Belvia first. Ooh, nice. Film simulation. Here's what the sliders look like. I know this is a black and white video, but I want to try this real quick. But you can also do the same thing with your color photos, okay? You can use your film simulations and then slide from the left, slide from the right, and you've got a dramatic color picture. But we don't want that. Let's reset that, and let's go back to our green filter. This is red filter, green filter, yellow filter, regular Acros it is, baby. Slide to the left, slide to the right. So here's one where the highlights on the nose are very, you can see on the histogram here, they're a little bright. You know, if I slide too much, we're losing detail. So this is where you would use your highlight slider to bring those puppies back. You know, so it's a little bit of a push and pull between the highlight slider and also what you're trying to do with your drama on the highlights. So there, I still see detail here on this nose because I brought my highlights. Here's what it looked like originally. See how we lost all our highlights? And this is why we shoot raw, people. So we can bring back this detail. And so I got my slide to the left, slide to the right, crisscross, and then it's my midtone sort of whatever. Midtone, I don't usually touch midtone too much, but clarity, again, maybe structure will work with this guy. Ooh, nice. That's dramatic. So now there's a consistency. Look, there's our first image. This is our second image. That's our third image. And you can see that there's a consistent look because we're kind of doing the same thing. So here's a very flat image color. If we want to make this more dramatic, let's pick our Acros, which makes it very flat. Let's see, green, red, yellow. Let's use your yellow filter. Okay, so this is converting it just to black and white. And if I pull, now right here, I can pull my shadows all the way to the beginning of this mountain. Okay, you don't want to go into the mountain too much because then it's like super drama, baby. But hey, you could do whatever you want. But that's what that means. This mountain is the midtones there. So the shadows, kind of, you want to pull them to where this mountain begins. And there's no information here. So we can actually bring these highlights over and over. See, it doesn't do anything to the photograph until we start to get to this first little bump here. And also the midtones move. You see the midtones move there. And now we got to worry about making sure we protect these highlights. So again, you can struggle between, using the highlight slider to control this. And to me, that looks good. I'm going to put the clarity up to bump up some of the drama. And that is a dramatic black and white. Maybe too dramatic, but who cares? All right, next one. Again, super simple. Going to pick my base. This one, I'll just pick monochrome. Slide my shadows to the left. Slide those highlights to the right. Very dramatic. Clarity if you need. Highlights if you need to control. Nice. Now, in this example, I'm going to show you if you just do clarity. So I'm going to bring clarity up, and clarity messes with the midtones, and it does get a little dramatic right away. But bringing now this is a little different than our last example. You don't have too much sliding room here, because that means there's a lot of dark in this photograph. If I start to bring this over, you're going to see a lot of that dark is going to go even darker, which is what we want. And then our highlights here, we've got some room to play with, and we'll bring those over, and we got nice highlights, very crunchy shadows. And now if we bring our clarity up, it just goes insane. Highlight slider to control the highlights. Dramatic black and white. Consistency. It's that crazy black and white, dude. Okay, let's try a little nature here, a little Ansel Adams. So let's go back to our Acros. Actually, let's mix it up. Let's go to our regular monochrome, just so that you can see that works too. And I'm going to pick a red filter. Usually a red filter in black and white will change the color of your sky. Let me show you that real quick here with this image. If you go to a red filter, here's a green filter, red filter. Red filter makes your blue skies darken. So red filters are great. And in the old days, people used to put a real red filter when they were shooting black and white to get those blue skies nice. And so I usually use a red filter here. Let's slide to the left, slide to the right. We're actually sliding to the left there. Okay, drama. Now, one thing we did lose here is we lost a little bit of detail in the bark here. So now is where you can use your shadow slider just a tad to bring up how much detail you want in the shadows. And now this is a little blown out in the background. You can HDR a bit, bring those highlights down a bit, and now see how much drama you want. Oh, that's awesome. Clarity, we'll just finish it up. Just a little bit of clarity. Structure! Yo, that's crazy. Print it. All right, let's try a portrait and also not a Fuji file. This is a Canon file. So when we go to auto, it's got different, it doesn't have any of the black and white or any of that stuff here. So you can just use, this is a tool that I added here. There's a black and white tool in Capture One. You could just enable black and white. And now you can use the sliders in the black and white to sort of mimic the filters, okay? So you can slide your red filter up a little bit for skin. You see what it does to the skin. So how much shadow do you want? We don't want to go too much. And all this highlight here, drama, baby, drama. And then if you need to bring your highlights down just a little bit, that works. Now, you got to be careful with clarity and structure when you're dealing with portraits. I don't recommend clarity at all. Structure sometimes will give you a little bit of nice drama, but that, to me, looks like a nice dramatic black and white portrait. Now notice in this photograph, there's a lot of dark. The sidewalk, the bicycle tires. So our histogram is showing a lot of dark here. So what we're gonna do is pull this, not too much because you're gonna end up with this here, too much shadow. So we're gonna pull a little bit for drama. And her pantsuit is so white that if I pull this to the side, it's gonna blow out. So what I wanna do is bring those highlights down so we can control the highlights. And then, oh, we still have detail there. Clarity. Boom. Boom. Drama. And there's consistency. Now, can you do this with a JPEG? Here's a JPEG. It's a little crooked, this JPEG. Let's pick the straighten tool. Go across this. Bam. Nice. And this is a JPEG. You could do the same thing. Just go to your levels. There's to the beginning. Oh, we should probably black and white it. Again, go to your black and white tool. Hit enable black and white. You can also change, I could probably change the color of that door back there if I wanted to. So let's just, should we lighten the door or darken the door? I like that. So now I'm going to bring this over. Ooh, crunchy shadows. And the highlights, very dramatic. Now the negative with a JPEG is a lot of times you can't control a lot of the overexposed things, the highlights. But you can still edit JPEGs totally okay. Again, dramatic black and white. Use your level tool, slide to the left, slide to the right, and crisscross. All right, I'll see you guys next time.